Okay, so I've kind of figured out what was wrong with my camera. I had it on the wrong setting. That's why I was having a harder time focusing and why the picture looked a little kind of distorted. So, before I go ahead here and continue, I just want to mention something that I talked about at the beginning of the video. That these are not cartograph decals. Where did I read that? Decals are made by so-and-so. I think I read that on the instructions. But they are cartograph, thankfully. Right there. So, before any people start yelling at me, yeah, cartograph! They are, you idiot! Yeah, they're cartograph. I just didn't read the box. See, I got the back strut, or back brace, whatever you want to call it. I got that on. And it was broken. This one here in the back was broken. And actually didn't take very long to fix it. I was quite surprised. I thought I was going to have a bit of more of a fight, but nope. Went in there quite nicely. I'm leaving off part B10 for right now. I'm going to put that on later. This needs to be painted brown, so I got to put this somewhere where I won't lose it. And the rest of these need to be painted green. And it's basically XF71 cockpit green. Let's see if I have one. I should have one, but I don't. Where would I have put it? Oh well, I'll find it in a bit. Yeah, the other thing too, I wanted to mention this. The fuel tank, they wanted it painted a brown color. And I just learned this a little while ago, that they actually were, the fuel tanks, some of them were made out of leather. And so, yeah, brown would be accurate. But you can't see it, so I'm not concerned about it. Obviously, I'll get a couple people who are concerned about it, and they'll quite gladly let me know in the comments their deep concern that I didn't paint it brown, because I can't even really see it, and I'm not even looking at the camera. But anyways, you can see it there from the front, I guess. Yeah, they were leather. Interesting. Something I did not know. I never really thought about it, to be honest. The other thing I have to pay attention to is this is where the front machine gun goes. Right there. And I'm a little worried that this brace will kind of prohibit me from putting that in properly without having to tear this part out again. But I think it's small enough I can wedge it in there. So that's going to be kind of my next little gamble. So I think what I'm going to start doing now is painting the engine, the wheels, all these little pieces. It's going to be quite a bit of little bits of stuff to paint. But it's not going to be very long. This isn't a very complicated project. I thought this would be a much longer kind of kit, but basically, this is like a weekend build. It really, really is. If you had this for a weekend project, I think you'd be very happy with it. It's a great kit. I can't stop raving about it. It's just really great. So, anyways, I'm gonna go back to work and paint and record some stuff in a little bit. So, be right back. Alright, so this is one of the problems with modeling, and especially recording and modeling. You basically get kind of one take to do things, and when things go wrong, yeah, that's kind of it. You lose a scene. So I just talked about a moment ago the wheels. Glued one wheel on there. I'm going to talk through that a little bit here. But one of the things I kind of discovered I want to mention is the rigging. I was a little worried that some of the rigging might be close to the wheel, and that would be hard to work around. So let's pull out the instructions here. And yeah, you can see this is of course upside down for you guys, my apologies. But it all basically goes to the center struts. So I don't have to worry about that, which is really, really nice. I really like the instructions here for rigging. They're pretty clear, but I do find them to be a bit confusing. at times because there's two B's, BB, AA, so it doesn't make sense. But for me, I can become confused by it pretty easily. And I just want to show you guys this. This is a Wingnut Wings instruction manual, and I really like their rigging instructions. They're really, really nice. So, here, I love this. They're colored. They color in the lines and tell you what you need to use. So basically, how I would see this is perfect as like I really like these. I like this more than the Airfix ones slightly because again they're colored in, but you only get these two profiles, which is a bit of a bummer. So I wish that they would do something like both. You know, if the Airfix ones were colored in, but that's just a minor thing. So going on with the rest of the plane, I painted up the tail here, and I just hand painted it, which I actually like. It kind of looks canvasy, if that's a word. And so I quite like that. It's gonna look nice once the crosses are on there. I get a lot of questions from people lately about how to paint wheels. I don't really have a good answer for you guys on that. I like to keep them on the sprue most of the time that I paint, so that helps me out, helps me be more steady that way. But one of the other things too is just patience, I guess. I don't really have a good answer. I'm sorry, but yeah, people have been asking me that a lot lately. How do you paint wheels? I grab a brush and I paint them. I'm sorry. That's about as vague as I can be. That's the very least helpful I can be. But yeah, I just paint them on there. Use a small brush. That helps out a lot. Lately, some companies have been making, like on this kit, there's only on one of them for some reason, there was a bit of a recessed panel, a recessed line in there, so you kind of knew how far to go. And I see a lot more companies doing that lately. It's really, really helpful. By the way, if any companies are listening, which I doubt. There we go. So, yeah, I just trim off those edges there, and that's just a quick little touch up with some, what is this paint called? Black rubber black, something like that. Oh no, I scratched it. Really bad too. Well, we can fix that as well in a moment. So for this, I'm just going to put on some extra thin. Round and round, there we go. Looks good. And I'm going to put on a dab of Tamiya on the end there. So I guess I should have explained all this. I painted it all green, and I put on the tail strut, which I'll show you guys in a sec. Okay, let's put that on there. There. And add a bit more of the extra thin, simply because I can. Add a little bit of a fleck there. Some brown. Get off. Get off. One thing to pay attention to, guys, when you're building this, you can see that the braces are at an angle. The top ones here, they're kind of at a bent angle. So you're going to want to have your wheels at the same angle because they're straight, as far as I can tell. And you do kind of get a little bit of that on the back of the paint diagrams. So there they are, they're angled like that. Later on, once these are dry, I'll just go do some quick little touch-ups on them. And I also added the one in the back, the strut there, the bracer. So it's all looking pretty good. I think the next step actually is to put on the wings. They're all painted up right here, ready to go. So quite excited about that. That looks good. So all I'm going to do now is just come back every 5 minutes, make sure that they're actually drying in the correct position. They're not falling over or anything like that. But yeah, I'm getting there. Can't wait to put it on its feet. So I didn't record this because I basically thought this was going to be a lot more work. Oh no! And there it goes. Oh no! I don't know what I need to do here. Move them closer. Okay. This is what you're supposed to do. Stay. Stay. Don't move. Give me a sec. Give me a sec. Quite paranoid now. You're supposed to have 2 blocks underneath the wings and put the wings on top. And I just use these Tamiya paints, and I'm quite pleased to say they do look a little off. No, maybe that's just me. It actually works. This is bumping the wheel. There. And all I did is I used extra thin cement. I'll probably go back in and do that again. No, it's this. It looks like it's the stabilizer that's throwing me off in the back. They look like they're bent a little bit. I'll try. Okay, so the fuselage is straight, from what I can tell. Yeah, it's about there. Something's off slightly. I think I'll figure that out in a little while. But basically I want to show that this does actually work, and quite effectively too. I'm quite pleased with that. Except, you know, you saw I had them out too far, and they caved in a little bit. But looks good. So hopefully after a couple hours, and again I'm going to add more extra thin just into the corners there, just so like I can see here, right here is a bit of a gap, and that'll just need a little bit of extra thin in there. Fill that in nice and tight. I'll have a much firmer seal, which is what I want. But looks good. Quite happy so far. Let's cross our fingers and hope for the best here. Okay, I'm working on a bunch of the sub-assemblies right now. After I got the wings on here, and they're nice and tight, stuck on there really well, so quite happy about that. They're crooked, however, so I was right. They are a bit crooked, but I'll just say that was a vigorous dogfight or a hard landing or something like that. I did try to correct them, but I'm a little worried I'm gonna just end up breaking it, and so I decided I'll leave them crooked. I'll leave them. Maybe you won't really, maybe it won't be that noticeable. Maybe it's just me. One of those types of things. The other thing I did here is I'm painting the inside of the cowling, painting it silver. It's gonna need a second coat, and then I can attach it and then paint the silver on the front. I did the engine here, and I have to really say this is really quite impressive. I cleaned it up, saw it out of the box, went, it looks like an engine, looks pretty good. Painted it all silver, and then I gave it a black wash, and all the detail started to poke through. Come on, you. Come on. No, I don't want you to focus. There we go. Just looks fantastic. So apparently the rods on the front are supposed to be pure, like, silver, just nothing really kind of done on them. I'm actually thinking I might just, I kind of like to do it in a way, but I kind of want to leave it. I really like that. It's weird because I didn't know how nicely detailed it was until after the wash was on there. It's fantastic. Beautiful little engine. And then, yeah, I'm working on cleaning the propeller here. Part B7, the top one. That's going to be a little bit of work. There's a bit of a seam down in here in this part, and on the other side as well. I can't quite, can't quite figure those out, but because I'd like to paint them on here. I'm just going to paint it brown. I'm not going to paint little wood grain and stuff like that. It's quite small. But what I'm going to do next here is we're going to paint up the machine gun. The Spandau Maxim machine gun. And I can't find gunmetal. Oh well, I'll have to use metallic gray. That's no biggie. It's a very awkward gun if you've ever held it. It's almost like because the one that I held was a German machine gunners, like one that would be used on the battlefield. And it had a butt on it, and it did have a trigger assembly on it, but it was very strangely built compared to the guns we have now. It's kind of like they did it really quickly. Oh, this works. There we go. So I'm going to use just metallic gray, and I'm just going to dry brush it on here. There we go. That looks great. And I'll just do a little touch up on the back. I kind of like to add a little color in this here. We'll just do the bottom here off camera for a moment. Okay, cool. The last thing I want to do to that, because I can. Normally the handles were black or a dark lacquer, dark brown paint put on top of that, but I'm going to do this anyways. Simply because I can. It's nice to add. I like to add little dabs of color here and there. It helps, in my opinion, helps make things just pop out a bit more. I'm going to use a NATO brown, and I don't know if this will focus. There we go. Just there. It's the little wooden toggle for the loading mechanism. A little bit on the other side as well. There we go. So yeah, you'll just see that little bit of brown on there. And there you go. Looks pretty good. I'm quite happy with that. So I'll be able to add that on later. And that's about it. I think what I'm going to go do now, I'm going to go and get a bowl of warm water, or water, and I'm going to start to add the decals. Read that step it? Yes! Awesome! I'm a little nervous, I won't lie, because I have to get around these bumps here for the rigging to go on the wing edges there. Those little blisters there. We'll make it work. I'll be back. I'll be back. Alright guys, I just wanted to show something I think if you're building this model, it'll make it a little easier on you. As far as which decal do you use first type of thing. One thing I'd like to add first, before I start, I'm using Tamiya Mark Fit Strong. Tamiya Mark Fit Strong does not like Vallejo. I forgot to clear coat the tail. And I put it on there first, right, the Tamiya. And I ended up removing the paint. So it didn't like damage it, but it was definitely like kind of cleaning it. So I got rid of that and just laid them down on top there, and it looks pretty good. So yeah, does not like Vallejo. And then I've been just adding in all the little stencils on the side here, and the Belkenkreuz, and listening to some music. Let's see if this one's ready to go. No, it's not. Yeah, my sister bought me the Beatles album 1. And I forgot about it. I just found it a little while ago. Thought I should listen to it. Which is a little, yeah, whatever, because I have all the Beatles albums, like all their main albums, when they remastered them a few years ago. And I never kind of noticed this till now, but I just want to know if anyone else has noticed this. Does Penny Lane sound more like the intro to a TV show? Like, I was just listening to that one, and I felt like I was waiting for credits to roll by. I really did. It was very strange. I was like, this feels like an opening to something. So, what I'm going to move you over there for now. So, what we're going to do here is we're just going to apply some Mark Fit Strong. Lift this up. And I'm just going to put it down. Like that. So, now what I want to do, this is going to be the tricky part. I want to line up all the decals. So I'm trying to get, whoop, such a fragile thing. I'm trying to get all the ones with the top and the bottom fairly lined up. If there's, I can see a little bit of brown on the bottom there. I'm not too worried about that. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not that concerned, because what I'll do is I'll just paint them. Just a little bit of touch-ups on there. And the only one that'll be a bit of a pain is the orange. But my brother gave me an orange to try out. He said it was really funny because it's almost identical on the bottle to this. So there. So I'm going to press it out, get out all the moisture, gently rolling it around there. So what my plan is, I have the one side here done, okay? And now I can go do something like the top here. Get that, what I'm going to do at the top though is make sure that the top decal starts here and ends here. And when I go around, hopefully I'll be able to keep them all in the same posture. So then when I get to the bottom here, they'll meet up at the end. So that's my goal. I want to do that on sides because the sides they do need a bit more work. So what I actually might do is I might actually just do the top and the bottom and then maybe try and get the other side to fit in a little bit more. So it's going to be a bit of a gamble, and but I'm quite confident it won't be that big of a deal. So the decals are very, very nice. They're perfect. I have no problem with them whatsoever. So let's start with the top one, 2. The only one I am concerned about is decal 3 because there's that, I don't know what to call it, where they sewed the two halves together of the canvas. I'm a little worried about getting it to conform properly there, so I might have to use something stronger than this. This doesn't quite seem to be working as nicely as I had hoped. They don't seem to quite be melting and conforming to the surface, so I'll have to maybe try something else. I don't want to use anything stronger because it could damage the decals. They're very nice, they lay down properly, but yeah, getting them over these surfaces, that might take a little more persuasion, so I'll see when I get there. I've seen some pretty uninspiring things in my life. Recent Canadian elections, they were pretty bad, but this one's a bit more, yeah, it doesn't fit. it does not fit. I am very anxious as to what I'm going to do next. Basically what I'm going to do, my plan here is to make the top here, the orange and the black, I'm going to make them match as much as I can. And then I'm going to, I think what I'm going to do, I'm just a little devastated at the moment. I think what I'm just going to do is gloss coat these like 3 times, so they're super protected, and I'll mask off here, mask off the black, and just repaint it. Same thing with the white. It's just nicely painted. Again, it has to be like really thick, baked in the clear. That is a bit of a downer to anyone else who's going to attempt to build this kit, because yeah, like this black line doesn't match with the back here. It's so sad. Oh well. I'm gonna figure out something. I'm just gonna put on the other one and hope for the best. It doesn't look that bad, but it's definitely gonna be one of those things I'm gonna notice. And the worst part of it all is, I was thinking to myself, should I airbrush these on? Nah, don't airbrush them on. Try the decals. Decals will be just fine. These are Cartograph Airfix. They're gonna be perfect. You're just gonna be mad at yourself in the end. You didn't use these wonderful decals, and yeah, I'm gonna end up having to do a bit of work. Not ruined or anything like that, or not even really upset. I'm a little, yeah, a little nudged as to what's going on here. It's like, no. Oh well, let's go cut out the other ones and hope for the best.